If you've ever played a computer game in your lifetime, there's a high likelihood you are intimately familiar with the Sims franchise and you need no explanation of the premise. Since the inception of the massively popular series in 2000, we've seen 4 mainline games and a disorienting amount of spin-offs come fresh from the factory. I have a lot of love for these cheap, weird, clunky, and often bizarre offshoots that helped whittle away the time between new, large releases. So much so that I've spent a lot of my personal free time researching and playing them. In my endless quest to learn everything there is to know about EA's ugly little stepchildren, one particular project managed to evade me for a good couple years, and I think it's because it's also managed to escape almost any form of documentation. So here's my attempt at preserving SimsCarnival.com, a Sims-themed game building tool that the internet forgot. Let's hop in. Fair warning from me, due to the fact that this website was so poorly archived, most of the information in this video is secondhand and not directly from EA. I did my absolute best to find sources that are reputable in the realm of video game reporting, but the game of memory telephone is almost never fully reliable. Also, all of this footage is years old and looks like it was taken on a computer being jackhammered, so I'm sorry. After the release of The Sims 2 in 2004, a 5-year gap between mainline games took up residency as Electronic Arts worked on the development of the series' 3rd installment. Although this gap was a smidge longer than the wait between The Sims 1 and 2, The Sims IP itself was having one of its busiest periods to date. The standard fare of several expansion pack releases helped pass the time, sure, but EA turned its attention to pumping out console, mobile, and handheld Sims 2 ports, as well as developing multiple new side series such as The Herbs and My Sims. The relationship between these games and the original Sims varied quite a lot. Some were simply scaled down copies, while others had completely unique gameplay mechanics and storylines. My Sims, for example, took inspiration from the general social format of its predecessors, but swapped most of the responsibility and stress for designing features. So, you know, The Sims for people who don't want to have to wear heart monitors later in life. I really need to get on beta blockers. These single-player releases weren't the only thing EA was managing, though. They should have been, but they weren't. At the time, a Sims-style MMO called The Sims Online was being consistently updated after its launch in 2002. This program was the multiplayer version of The Sims in all its glory, except it was a massive failure for EA, with active player numbers beginning low and dwindling further as years went on. This was the first real attempt at a Sims experience on the web, and it had a pretty miserable life until it was culled in August of 2008. TSO is its own story that warrants its own video, but its lackluster performance leads us to the second attempt at a Sims website, Sims Carnival. In February of 2008, as TSO coughed through its last few months alive and next year's Sims 3 release loomed overhead, EA announced their latest Sims project at the '08 Game Developers Conference. SimsCarnival.com would be a hub for both the creation and playing of short, user-generated games. The site would feature an engine that allowed visitors to build their own games with no prior coding experience and upload them for others to check out. If you didn't want to create a game from scratch, you could also use a swapper tool to edit the visuals of a pre-existing game and tailor it to your liking. Everything published on The Sims Carnival would be open source, meaning with proper attributes, anyone could change up your game however they'd like and repost it. The website also allowed you to upload your own Flash games created outside of their engine if you wanted more eyes on them. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, you're old enough to remember the Flash game portal craze of the time, the likes of AddictingGames.com, Girls Go Games, Cool Math Games, and a billion other ad-filled sites were gaining popularity at warp speed, with new platforms popping up each day to rip off Fireboy and Watergirl. Creating a similar site that came with built-in tools to contribute to the game library was a pretty damn good idea. With the Sims name attached, it also functioned as advertising for any upcoming series installments. EA wouldn't even have to worry about producing new games for it, since the content was user-made. On the other hand, how does a game-building engine relate to the franchise at all? According to an IGN article, EA senior producer Don Labs stated that it was a response to custom content. The inspiration for this site came from The Sims and The Sims 2 creations that the users have done over the years. One of the things that users keep on talking about is that it enables their creativity to create stuff, create objects, create a life. So our users consider Sims a creativity tool. A lot of people don't play the game, they're just creating stuff. When we were thinking about other ways that that type of user could express their creativity, the creation of casual games was a natural. CC makers are still the backbone of the Sims community to this day, so I can see them taking note of that piece of the fanbase. However, I'd wager that they just kind of wanted to jump on the trend and that was the first excuse that came to mind, or maybe I'm just being nasty. Who knows? The site officially entered open beta in June of that year after some internal testing with EA employees. The main game creation tool, called the Wizard, would build your program by asking a series of questions about how you wanted the game to function. You would start by picking a genre, such as a racing game, a shooter, or a puzzler. You'd then answer a few more prompts to pick things like visual style, environment, and tools. The Wizard is oddly enough the least documented part of the site. I assume there was at one point a tutorial or a demo for it, but it isn't here anymore. The more in-depth game creator has a bit of footage to its name, thankfully. This engine operated in a similar fashion to MIT's Scratch, a programming language designed to help teach kids to code. They both functioned with a building block style, using customizable events that snap together into a chain to simplify the process. Both also had a library of free sounds and images available to be used in your creations, but you could also just upload your own objects and recordings. Since there's absolutely no archive of the Sims game creator besides the 4-minute promotional video in like 280p, I can't poke around in there. The entire program was very visual and easy to dive into without any prior experience, which made it a great first step for kids. Some people in the comment section of the original demo reels were very pissed about this. Once you completed your game, you could publish it to the site for anyone to play and possibly rate or comment on. If you didn't want to do all that shit, you could use the swapper tool, which was available to use on any uploaded game. This allowed you to replace any asset in the game with your own images to customize it to your liking. You'd upload an image, use the image editor to erase any backgrounds, and properly scale it to match the previous object. You were also able to merge old images with your own if for some reason you wanted to do that. Using the swapper would effectively create a copy of the game with your visuals that you could re-upload. The tutorial for the swapper has like permanently damaged me because I can't stop repeating this stupid fucking line to myself.
You can even rotate it.
You can even rotate it. Really? Wow. Shit. In the trailers, there are a lot of My Sims themed objects, so I bet that there was some type of promotional event for the My Sims game going on at the time of launch. In a 2008 TechCrunch article, it stated that they were working on implementing an API that would allow for high score charts, which would be sent by email periodically. They also mentioned here that there was an option to embed games into your own website and stitch games together into a playlist of sorts. At the GDC, Rod Humble, head of EA's Sim Studio, said that they had planned to share ad revenue from the site with creators of popular games. This is also said in a 2009 paper from a student at the University of Turku in Finland about the Sims franchise. I'm not even 100% sure how I found this, but thank you, Tanya Sivahan, your paper rocks. I read all 346 pages of it. It's great. Anyway, we can see that ads certainly were on the site. One is even shown on the sidebar in EA's own footage. However, I can't find any actual evidence of revenue sharing happening. If you have a memory of that, please let me know. After 3 years of being available online, The Sims Carnival shut down in January of 2011. Attempting to head to the website now will first of all prompt you with a security warning. If you push through, you get this pop-up guiding you to the Sims 3 website. And that's it. That is all the concrete information I have for you. Despite the fact that 1 in 4 visitors to the website were apparently game makers, I was only able to find 3 videos on YouTube of any type of gameplay. Only one of those was actually titled Under the Sims Carnival. The longest piece of footage I was able to find showcased this castle escape game, which seemed to have a coin collection mechanic and a pretty simple top-down style. We see a few enemies fought, and also some loot chests dotted around the small map. We have a 3-life system up in the corner, and a pretty neat looking you win screen towards the end. The links in the description of this video lead to the Sims Carnival, but the pages are obviously inaccessible. I also dug up a 49-second clip of a game called Daredevil, which is a simple racer. The Windows Movie Maker title screen, my beloved, actually does show us the creator's name as well. His name is Rob. I tried to see if I could find the game on any other Flash sites or anything similar, but no luck on my end. The last clip I got my grubby little hands on shows off a game where you aim balls of paper and try to launch them into a trash can. This game felt incredibly familiar to me to the point that it bugged me for a few days, but I quickly realized that there were just a million of these things on the App Store. Entirely unhelpful. I played Jerk Boss, apparently. I also came across a beautiful relic in the video How to Make an Online Game in all caps, which had Microsoft Paint text instructions for using Sims Carnival, which ended with make an account. It was also set to Bodies by Drowning Pool. This video was published towards the end of 2009, and we can see that the site still says it's in beta. I mean, we can kinda see it. In terms of actually cataloging games on the site, I found one MTV article from their old multiplayer blog that lists off a few of the writer's favorite games. Unfortunately, the images are broken, but it's still something. The games mentioned are linked, and the Wayback Machine does have snapshots of them, but they are all incredibly fucked up. One, called Rikamari Rolashi, was apparently a Rickroll themed parody of a game called Katamari Damacy. Sorry for the ass pronunciation. The Joys of 2008. I thought surely this game must have been uploaded somewhere else, but no dice. The game Blobular that's mentioned here was described as a ripoff of the 2006 platformer Loco Roco. Through a blog post on the website Jaya's Games, I was actually able to find a playable version of Blobular. This post was made in 2007 though, so Blobular had to be an import onto the website, not a game created there. I think most of the in-house games might just be lost forever unless their creators found a way to save their work. Thousands of games are just gone. I could only find a few closure announcements for the site, none of them coming directly from EA. One of these, on Beyond Sims, did tell users to download their game files if they wanted to keep them, so there could be a few stragglers out there. I've spent the last couple weeks scouring the internet for any more information, but this is all I've been able to dig up. I wish I had more for you, but if you had anything to share, please do. If you were planning on doing your own little search, you might see something completely different when you search Sims Carnival on YouTube, other than, carnivals made in The Sims. Around the time the website went up, EA created 2 simple games that were downloadable from EA Link: Bumper Blast, a Sims-themed shooter, and Snap City, a SimCity-style Tetris recreation. These 2 games are pretty well documented, and you can easily find full playthroughs online. You can also buy physical copies for like $2. Although these games share a name with the website, they are otherwise completely unrelated. I tried my best, but I'm not a super talented internet sleuth, so there's probably more information hidden around the web somewhere. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed it. I love you, Sims Carnival. Save me. Thank you so much to all of my members. There are quite a few new guys here, so thank you. I appreciate you. Big heart. I don't know why I said big heart as if like a large heart would appear on the screen. I could do that though. I could edit that in. There you go, big heart. Thank you again for watching. Stay safe, stay wonderful, my friends, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.